Makaurau produces around 100,000 tonnes of organic material and kai waste, and most of that is going into our landfill. Our mission as composters is to recycle all that goodness back into the soils of Papatūānuku so she can keep enabling and sustaining life for us to enjoy. Auckland Council and other councils around Aotearoa are making decisions at the moment about how we're going to deal with our kai waste and organic materials. I think as a composter that composting is one of the best solutions to climate change that we've got. I'm here at my compost hub today and we're going to show you how composting is the solution to climate change. So let's start by taking a sample of the compost I make here to the Dignan Street Soil Laboratory. We're going to get up close and see the science behind composting and how it can solve climate change.
Composting sequesters carbon by using the energy of the sun that's creating the photosynthesis through the plant, which is feeding the microbial life in the soil. And the compost that we're using is full of the microbes that enable that cycle to happen with the plants in relationship with the microbes, the tiny little life that's in the soil. And one of those microbes is fungi. So the fungi actually has these walls that are made up of carbon. So as the fungal hypha grows and expands, the more and more carbon gets locked up in those fungal walls. So it's taking it from carbon dioxide in the atmosphere and locking it up as stable carbon in the soil through the composting process. When we start to be able to have robust data of not only what we're collecting in terms of if it's food scraps, those measures are levers to be able to work with policymakers, with councils, with central government, to be able to realise the untapped potential that we've got as composters and growers if we use this system. If we can transition to regenerative agriculture through high quality compost, we can transform Aotearoa's growing system, and that's what we're up for.
All right, we have the science, but what about the business model? Well, let's go find someone who's making compost and money. We're here today in Kingsland at Kalmana Garden Soil Factory to meet another composter, Ollie, who runs a neighbourhood compost collection service that uses no trucks, no gas, and actually sequesters carbon.
I compost for over 100 households and businesses in the neighbourhood, taking their food scraps that would otherwise go to landfill and turning it into living soil that our market gardeners use to grow food that we sell in our farm shop. I'm here about a day and a half every week. I collect the food scraps by bike. Also, some residents drop off their food scraps here at the hub, and then from those two sources I combine it with carbon to create compost. I think it's really important to have local-based solutions, capturing those food scraps as locally as possible and converting them into another resource and making that part of a circular system where the compost is then being used to grow food. It would be amazing to be able to expand our impact if we were funded by local government. It would mean that we could develop more satellite hubs. If I'm here for 13 hours a week and can compost for over 100 households and businesses, what could a team of people do?
So it makes sense scientifically and it makes dollars too, but it isn't happening politically. I'm going to have to talk to someone behind the scenes of government.
There are a number of answers to how the government could go about better sharing resources with the community, but I think the most important starting place is just thinking about structurally how those resources end up being kind of redeployed. So in my ideal world, where we can kind of zoom out and look at some of the structural stuff, I would love to see constitutional reform such that, you know, we inherently recognise Te Tiriti o Waitangi, and I think that that has really profound and amazing implications for what we can do at a community level as well. But that then helps us to kind of reconceptualise what it is that we're trying to achieve as a country. So we need to broaden our perspectives and kind of ask ourselves, why are we working so hard and what are we doing all of this stuff for, if not to develop our communities and our cities in a way that is ultimately beneficial to the people and the environment that make them up.
So for our next stop, we're here at Newton Kura, where there's a school hub that's run by Donut Economics New Zealand. So let's go check it out.
We've been doing composting just ourselves in amongst our own gardens and stuff at the school for lots of years. We've got our own forest that was planted over 20-something years ago. We have gardens as well that we grow food in. So this was really just an extension of the things that we've already been doing to encourage our children and our future generations to really think about sustainability. Composting is important because it's about being part of that cycle. You know, they wanted to get their hands in and dig in and look at everything and be part of all of the parts of the process as much as they can. So, you know, we try and find ways to incorporate all of that into our school program as well. And they take time out of their lunch times that they have today to participate in looking after our grounds and looking after the environment that we have here at Newton Central.
What does compost do?
Help the environment!
So now you've seen just a handful of compost hubs in Auckland, and there are hundreds of us across the motu in Aotearoa ready to start composting. You've seen how it sequesters carbon, how it's a viable business model, and how it engages people of all ages in climate-ready ways of thinking. So what are you waiting for? Let's go.